about 45 million pounds of chips in a quarter. That equates to about 200 million pounds of potatoes, which is quite a few. What's interesting with M&T is they're a small town bank, and as we've grown, they've also grown with us. They've got the resources that you would need in order to go big, but they also have that friendly local community feel so that it makes it seem easier than it probably is.
Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. I'm Judith Cranus, a member of the League of Women Voters. Our June 2nd primary election is coming up. This is the election in which the main political parties, the Democrats and Republicans, choose their candidates. You must be registered to vote as a Republican or a Democrat to help choose your party's candidate. However, everyone, no matter your party or lack of party, every registered voter may vote on ballot questions, and there are 5 of them this year for City of Reading voters. This year, Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters have joined forces to provide you with interviews of all candidates in contested races, and we are providing information on those ballot questions. There are contested races this spring in the 9th Congressional District for the Democratic Party, and in the 127th Pennsylvania House of Representatives districts for both the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. In each district, the candidates all will get the same questions and have the same amount of time to answer each one. We have done this so you can compare them. Please note, if you are not yet registered, you have until May 18th to do so. And if you need more information on registering or voting, visit elections@countyofberks.com. That's elections@countyofberks.com. Or you can phone our Berks County Department of Election Services at 610-478-6490. And this year, you can vote by mail-in ballot. That application is available on the same website or through the same phone number. Now, please note that the opinions expressed in this interview are those of the candidate and not necessarily the opinions of the League of Women Voters or of Berks Community Television. Our interviewee in this particular program is running in the Democratic contest for the 127th Pennsylvania House District. This district includes most of the City of Reading and the borough of Kenhorst. And we're ready for our interview. In this program, we're talking with Democrat Cesar Cepeda. He has 4 opponents: Robin Kostenbader-Jacobson, Robert Melendez, Raymond Baker, and Manny Guzman. Mr. Cepeda, welcome. Welcome to you, sir.
Hello.
We're going to start out with a very simple question. Why do you want to be a state representative, and what are your qualifications for this position?
Hi, Judith. Thank you for inviting me, the League of Women Voters. I have the honor and the utmost respect for the National American Women's Suffrage and the League of Women Voters and everything that you women have been doing for countless of years to providing the opportunity for women all over the world, actually, to have the opportunity not only to vote, but have the rights of a normal life and to have the constitutional values that women deserve. Because, you know, I love my mother, I have my daughters, I have my granddaughters, and I have the utmost respect for women in general. Now, hi everybody, my name is Cesar Cepeda. I'm gonna try to keep my answers short because of the fact that the COVID-19 and presentation. But yes, my answer is that I'm highly qualified for running for a state representative. My key is wisdom and the know-how to see everything that happens, you know, that comes right up.
Thank you. What should voters know about the job of a state representative? Why is it important to them?
Because the state of representative is the key component in the General Assembly. Now, the state representative is in charge with distributing the funds that goes through the 3 school districts in the 127 school district, which most people don't know that the state representative for District 127 has school districts that he has to maintain and stay focused on. Also, the state representative is in charge of voting in legislature and making sure that people stay, respectable as far as maintaining the laws, the legislative values, and the integrity of the seat of the 127.
Thank you. What are the three most important things you want to accomplish if you're elected our state representative?
Well, first of all, I would like to turn our city of Reading from worst to first. What most people already know in the city of Reading is that we've been classified as one of the most worst cities in America. Crime, poverty, you name it, we're having a problem with it. The last representative that sat on the seat of 127th in this district had the seat for 44 years, and it's just right now the city is just spiraling out of control. I intervened into this election because of the fact that I knew that my honor, my integrity, my principles, and my values that I hold as a gentleman in our community and as a leader in our community, that I can step forward and take charge and lead the city to prosperity. It doesn't take much. It just takes no corruption. It only takes to make sure that we have extreme oversight on the money that I bring in from the federal and the state governments. It takes a lot of great value and honesty to make sure that you make the right choices that don't hurt the planet, that don't hurt the children, that don't hurt the senior citizens that are really relying on me so much, and especially the women that need the leadership of a strong representative in the General Assembly to make sure that everything that's needed in our community, all the components, is there to make sure that the mechanisms of our city will function and move to a higher height.
Thank you. Should the state make health care available and accessible to all Pennsylvanians? And how would you do this?
Well, right now, the Obamacare is doing it, but I think what every system needs is always an update and an upgrade. I'm sort of like Bernie Sanders and the other young lady that was running for president, Miss Warren, that they look for medical for all. But right now, for me, to speak honestly, I have to go in the General Assembly and do a lot of assessments. I have to look at all the laws that are in place. I have to look at what is the overall funding and budgeting of our great nation and our state. And I have to realize that right now, the state of Pennsylvania, it's one out of 8 states in the United States of America that's in a deficit. We're in $1 billion deficit. And for me to speak realistically and to take charge and to create the change that we need, I don't want to lie to my constituents, and I don't want to lie to the League of Women Voters and all of the people that's watching this program. I want to make sure that we first balance the budget, make sure that we have the money for the main necessities, which I know that medical is one, and how we're going to raise more money, how we're going to be creative without overtaxing people and create more funding to pay for the benefits of our senior citizens, our ill, the children that need the medical assistance, and have medical for all.
But there is no county health department in Berks County, and we've seen that with the virus. Should we have a Berks health department in Berks County? And is this something that should be paid for by state government?
Well, I believe that the state funding money is the people's money. And that being said, the money should be allocated with proper leadership as myself to go to the right environment to make sure that our community is safe. And it's very vital that we protect ourselves from this type of an attack that's been happening in our community. Now, I believe that some of the educational funds should be given more, or extra money should be given more to some of the universities and the colleges that do medical studies. And we can leave all of the medical ideologies, terminologies, all the medical designs, all of the medical genius that the universities have, and use it as a main component to create some type of a safety net to protect our environment, that we can go to our own sources as local to help us come up with the solutions for a better way of dealing with these type of pandemics.
Okay. Following the census, our state legislators will redraw the district lines for state and federal officials. This has led to gerrymandering, districts that favor one party. Do you think this is fair to voters? And if not, what will you do to give voters fair districts?
Well, some people say it's not fair. Some people say it's fair. I'm kind of a little bit in between because honestly, if you are the right person for the job, like for instance me, I believe I'm going to be the next state representative because of my genius, my wisdom, and my vision, my foresight. Um, it doesn't matter where part of the community where you're from. People can see realism. People can see somebody who has the leadership skills, the qualities that's needed to embellish the whole district within itself. Yes, you know, we're going to have disparities. We're going to have people more in the suburban sprawl areas and say, hey, we need these means for ourselves. We pay a lot of taxes. And you have the poor people that's going to say the same thing, that we need things for ourselves. But I believe in balance. I believe that we should come up with some type of a solution so it won't be gerrymandering and there won't be no bickering on the part of the urban community.
Thank you. Will you support raising the minimum wage? And what should that minimum wage be?
Well, I believe the minimum wage has to be raised. And it's part of one of my economic policies that I'm going to be bringing to the General Assembly. I've put together a new market type economic scheme. It's a market capitalism evolutionary system that I'm writing down and I'm composing in a booklet that's going to have a mixture of capitalism and socialism. We need both of them. We have to balance it out. There's no way that we're going to have a future economic system where the plutocrats is just keeping getting richer and richer, and there's nothing that's being provided for the people that are indigent in our community, and the middle classes is just holding the bearing, the weight on their backs to make sure that they pay the majority of the taxes for our state. So we do need, yes, a minimum wage raise.
Yeah, thank you. And we're going to keep all our questions, I think, to 60 seconds to make sure we get through them all. So
Okay.
Pennsylvania has several safety net programs like food assistance or housing assistance, sometimes medical care or addiction treatment. Are these adequate in Pennsylvania? And if not, how would you change them? And then should there be work requirements to get these safety net benefits? And should you have to be a citizen to get safety net benefits?
Well, this is a great question. This is part of the answer that I have just given you because of the fact that I developed that marketing capitalistic system that it comprises with both capitalism and socialism. I believe universal benefits is going to be the thing of the future. It's going to be something that's going to be implemented soon, but we need to have more extreme oversight on the entitlement money that's coming in. I'll give you an example. So for instance, if somebody has problems with paying their light bill, stuff like that, we have utility agencies that get extreme amount of funding by the federal and state to pay for what's called LIHEAP and PCAP and stuff like that. I believe in my marketing new capitalistic system, we should create an oversight corporation that's run by the government that takes these funds and reinvests it. With the money that they get from the reinvestment, they can use it to supplement the community. And at the same time, we can start focusing on sustainable energy and so on and so forth.
Okay. We want every student, obviously, to successfully complete high school and to be equipped to gain employment in a high technology environment. What would you do to facilitate and encourage these students to can stay in school and graduate?
Fantastic, Judith. That's a great question. As the way I'm developing the new capitalistic economic system that I'm writing down to propose to the General Assembly, I'm also writing down a new educational system to develop new standards for education. And if we're going to be giving more money to the school districts, they have to be held accountable, oversight, and to make sure that if we're going to be paying teachers more money, that they have to meet standards. Sort of like the bar, for instance, where we have lawyers that have to take a huge, extreme examination so that way they can be qualified to be lawyers. I think some type of a system, a new standardized system should be in place so we could raise the bar to make sure that the teachers are adequate to teach. I think that we have to raise the bar, that we have to start developing new curriculums. And, you know, I only have 60 seconds to answer these questions, but yes, I have a new educational standard system that I'm going to sit down and impose to the state that's going to definitely embellish our community, that's going to make the educational system and the children's all have the same amount of a chance to succeed.
Thank you. There are currently inequities in how Pennsylvania funds its public schools. Schools in rich zip codes thrive, schools in poor zip codes struggle. What will you do to provide every child with a quality education?
Fantastic. This is part of both the marketing capitalism system and the new educational standard system that I'm composing, which is going to work in hand. Now, we have to work based on per student ratio. I believe that regardless if, you know, the suburban people pay a certain amount of taxes, you have a better quality of life there. The people that's paying the taxes here in the city of Reading, they have a lesser quality of life, but everybody should have equal opportunity. You see, this is what's part of the legislature, where there's a law and there's an amendment that's called equal opportunity of the law. Each person is supposed to have protection and equal opportunity. So we have to take all of the funds in general as a district, and we have to distribute it equally so that the inner city schools will have the same money and the mechanisms as they do in the suburban districts.
Thank you. Now, many of our local legislators favor doing away with the property tax to fund schools. How do you think our public schools should be funded?
Well, property taxes is a problem. I know that a lot of the suburban people, because of the fact that they live in a specific area where they have a better quality of life, they pay more taxes. And I sympathize for them. But what we have to remember that here in the United States of America, a lot of the middle classes and the poor indigent people has been paying a huge amount of taxes and has been lifting this country for years. A lot of huge corporations have loopholes. A lot of people have been having tax exemptions, so on and so forth, that they get exempt from paying a lot of taxes. So it's time for us to give back to the people. It's time for the people to have equal opportunity. Like I said, it's a law, it's part of the Constitution, it's amendment. And we have to start developing that type of mentality that we all must work together in harmony to come up with better solutions and give everybody a fair chance in the United States of America.
Thank you. In this time of increasing disparity between the incomes of the well-to-do and the poor, Pennsylvania still has a flat income tax. So do you think this is appropriate? Should we change the income tax to make it based on how much money you earn, or should it stay flat, the same 3 point whatever it is % for everybody?
Okay, this is a great question. What most people don't know is that there are two different tax systems. There's a progressive tax system and there's a flat tax system. I say about 90%, 95% of the United States is in the progressive tax system. Pennsylvania, as well as the Soviet Union, about the only people on earth that still have the flat tax system. We are trying to compose the fair tax so everybody can pay fair, equal tax, and that's because of the fact that the rich aren't paying their share and the poor people are carrying the weight of the nation. But I believe that we should just go back as a system to start with the progressive system. And to pay for a lot of these things, we don't have to overtax people. We have other ways of raising money, like for instance, you know, the sales tax. You know, our district, by raising a cent, you know, for every quality of life program, would definitely bring in enough funds generated through the sales tax alone to pay for a lot of quality of life programs.
Thank you. Pennsylvania has a lot of crumbling infrastructure, bridges and roads that need repair. How would you get them repaired as a state legislator?
Well, I think it's something, like I said, is created by balance. There are a lot of corporations in our district that are embellishing the wealth of getting state and federal funding immediately because of the fact that there's not so many corporations that has the bidding unless if you go to another community and bring in somebody else to bring you a lower base value. So with that being said, I think it's about time that some of these corporations that's been getting fat here in our district do a little pro bono to work with us. And at the same time, we have to hold organizations that are destroying our infrastructure to be held accountable to pay their part of the share. Like, for instance, the utility companies. Like, for instance, UGI, MedEd, they're wrecking the streets, creating new pipelines, doing repairs and updates and so on and so forth, but they just pothole filling. We need for them to work in conjunction with the city to create what's called a community chest, a community pot, so we can finally fix it once and for all the way it should be fixed.
Okay. Do you think the state should do more to keep the planet habitable? Do more to promote good ecology?
Yes, I am a firm believer and I am an advocate for the Green Deal. But I'm going to take it a little further. Remember when I spoke about the economic system, about how I wanted to create a corporate that's run, to subsidize the funds of federal and state money, to raise money, to invest it, and get the capital that they make out of these investments to supply it into the community. What I want to do is we want to raise extra money using the state and federal tax money and invest it. Once we get the money from the investment with safe investments, what we do is we take these extra funds and distribute it to our community in grant blocks. And in that way, the money that the state and federal government is still in a pot growing, and the money that we raise as a business institution and as a community will raise the money for solar panels, for geothermal heating, for sustainable energy, and the new ideas that are coming.
Thank you. And we're going to go to 45 seconds just to make sure you have a chance to have a closing comment. Should Pennsylvania decrease its use of fossil fuels and carbon emissions?
Well, this is one of the main reasons why I'm running for the District 127 seat. I realize that there's a major pinnacle bill that's being placed right now in the Capitol in Harrisburg, and it's called the Energy Bill. And this energy bill is for fracking and trying to obtain all of the fossil fuels and the minerals that's in our state. And what's that going to do is going to destroy our environment. And it's going to be a battle up there for who's going to approve this bill. I personally am totally against it. I mean, that all of those natural resources have never been touched for all this time. I believe that we must withhold our forefathers' wishes and to maintain it there and to develop a new sustainable energy system.
Thank you. Should the state charge the fracking industry to repair the damages that were caused by fracking? And if so, what fees should be charged and how should the funds be dispersed?
Well, yes, I believe that they should hold the bulk of paying for what they've done, remove it, repair it, clean it. But I believe that the state and the federal government must bring in money, and the people must bring in money to do immediate environmental cleanup. I'm accredited from the Kansas State University online courses for Brownsfield. And it was very vital for me to take these courses because of the fact that I say about 80 to 90% of the city of Reading is Brownsfield. In other words, it's contaminated land. So if I'm going to lead the community, I have to know about these challenges. I have to know how to meet the needs, bring in the National Environmental Protection Agency, and make sure that our community is safe and make the right decision.
Thank you. What do you think are common sense gun violence controls the state should have in place?
Okay, I want you to really understand what I'm saying, because I don't want the gun enthusiasts to go all crazy, whatever. But honestly, if it was up to me, it was left up to me, I would amend the Second Amendment. And if we're going to have people allowed to use guns, there must be extreme oversight. I believe that everyone's guns should be held by gun clubs, gun associations, shooting ranges, so on and so forth. I don't think we need a community that everybody needs firearms in their home. I believe that if everybody just gave up the weapons, then there won't be so much mass murders, there won't be killing. But because of the fact that the Second Amendment is strong, I believe in let's create laws for now that's going to give us the opportunity to create safe laws to pass to keep safety for our children and our community.
Thank you. And discrimination in housing and employment against LGBTQ plus people is still legal in Pennsylvania. Should we have laws to stop this discrimination?
Well, actually, Judith, that's a great question. As we all know, my name is Cesar Cepeda. I'm running for state representative, but I am also a member of the Human Relations Commission from the state, Pennsylvania State Human Relations Commission. And I sit down in the meetings and I do the trainings and the seminars. Now, discrimination is against the law for all people. It doesn't matter your race, religion, sex, who you are. Everybody's protected by the state of Pennsylvania. This is the beautiful thing about the legislative. It's just that most people don't know, where to go to get the protection, that they need from being abused by people who misuse, the justice system. And this is another thing that we have to speak about in the future, because I only have 60 seconds to talk about, to give them my answer. But yes, I will make sure that the LGBT community is safe. All you have to do is contact me.
Thank you. So you have about 30 seconds left to make your closing statement.
Okay, fantastic. Everybody in the District 127, Ken Hurst, why I'm missing Reading, Pennsylvania. You all know me. My name is Cesar Cepeda. I want to bring back honor and integrity to the seat of 127. For the last 70 years, the city of Reading has not had someone sitting in that seat that held respectability and honor. Our city has been plagued with corruption for over 70 years, from the water authority to the parking authority to the redevelopment authority to everything, the school districts and so on and so forth. I promise you that I will have extreme oversight in all the funds, and I will make sure that the respectability of the Democratic Party and the 127 seat will be held in place, and I will make Reading the best city from worst to first. Guaranteed. Vote for me, June 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. Cepeda, for sharing your message with our VCTV viewers. Before we close, I'm going to remind you that there are 4 other candidates in the race. They are Robert Melendez, Robert Kostenbader Jacobson, Raymond Baker, and Manny Guzman. And I encourage you to watch their interviews so you're fully informed when you vote. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Good day.
I thank you, League of Women Voters. God bless you. And I'm here to support you for whatever cause you need. You contact me and I'm there to advocate for you.
We make about 45 million pounds of chips in a quarter. That equates to about 200 million pounds of potatoes, which is quite a few. What's interesting with M&T is they're a small town bank, and as we've grown, they've also grown with us. They've got the resources that you would need in order to go big, but they also have that friendly local community feel so that it makes it seem easier than it probably is.